Hey everyone, my name is Sue and welcome to Love and Tater Tots. Today we're gonna remake this mirror. I love the fact that it has such a nice flat surface all the way around, so I can really do some fun stuff with this. And I also have some spring fever, so I'm ready to put some spring touches on this. So come along and let's see where this journey takes us.
The first thing that needed to be done with this mirror was to clean it up really good. You can see how dirty it was. I had found it at an auction and it was in a barn, so it wasn't exactly in the cleanest place. And then once I have it cleaned really well, I'm going to give it a good scuff coat sanding just so that my primer can really adhere well. So this is just a good scuff coat, and then I'm going to clean off the sanded parts and we'll be ready to paint.
Now the mirror is ready, the frame of this is ready to be primed. I'm going to use my primer and give it a good coat of that, because this, when I was cleaning it, I could see on the sponge that it was really pulling up a lot of tannins. So I'm going to give it a good base coat of primer, and then we'll go ahead and we'll be able to paint it. The frame of this mirror now has 2 coats of the primer on it. And now I am going to use a white and paint this. I'm going to use Fluff, which is a warm white color. And I'm going to put a coat of that on here, probably a good 2 coats, just to make sure that I have full coverage. Now when I paint with chalk paint, I like to make sure that my brush is wet first. So I give it a good spray of water to make sure that the bristles are primed and ready, and they're already wet when I dip into my paint. And I just go over all of my areas and give it a good clean look. This is covering really, really well over that with those coats of primer. Really gave it a good base for me. So I'm going to continue on and finish painting the rest of this frame. Now I'm going to let that dry, and then we will put a second coat on, and then we'll add some finishing touches. My 2 coats of paint are now dry, so I'm ready to move on to the finishing parts, where I get to add the pizzazz, the extra oomph that this piece needs. So I have this beautiful rice paper that I'm going to use. Blue and white is my favorite combination of colors. Blue and white just, to me, is just a standard beautiful look, no matter what room you're going for or where you're going to put it. Blue and white always works. So I have this beautiful rice paper that I'm going to use, and we're going to put on the flat parts of this frame. That's why at the beginning I said I was so excited to use this, because it had so much flat space that I could put this beautiful decoupage paper on. So let's see how this process works, putting it on the frame. The first step will be to apply my medium to the wood frame so that I can place the rice paper on top of that. And for that, I'm going to use the Dixie Belle Clear Coat. So let me get this open, and then we will start applying that. I have already pre-cut my pieces and have them mapped out around my mirror. So we're going to start up here in the corner. I have put some of the clear coat on my brush, and I'm just going to brush it onto the top here in the area of which this is going to go. I have to make sure that I get the all the way to the edges with a good amount. I don't want to be skimpy on this. So there, I have a good amount on there. So I'm going to take my first piece and I'm just going to place it. I have pre-cut them and have it ready to go. So we're going to place this on here and line it up. It is a little forgiving at the beginning, so you can make sure it's lined up where you want it to be. I've never had a problem with that. So if you find a place that needs a little bit more, you can go ahead and pick it up. In this case, I didn't go over far enough, so I'll just pick it up and lay it back down there. Smooth it out gently, so that you're not going to rip your paper. That's one nice thing when you use the decoupage, the rice paper, is it's won't tear as easily as if you're using napkins. It's a little more forgiving. So I'm very thankful for that. All right, so the next piece will go on up here. We're just going to keep building on this and go all the way around so that you can see how this works. Just lightly take the finger over it to get it lined up. Okay, next piece. It just keeps building on here until you go all the way around. It's actually a fun process to do because you see it as it goes, and I like to see the progression of how things go. So I'm just making sure I've got a good amount on here. You don't want it to be too much, but you can't take the chance of any dry spots being on your edges. Okay, the next piece is already pre-cut and ready to go. It does hang over the edges, but we will go back through and take care of that then. So it is okay for them to hang over the edge. Okay, getting ready for the next piece. We will go back and do the clear coat over the whole thing. Once we get all the pieces down, we'll go over the whole thing with the clear coat. Okay, we're just going to keep moving up here. See how quickly this goes. We're going to put the next piece on. go over it lightly to make sure that it's set in there. Okay, and we're ready for the last piece then. Okay, there we go. So far, that is what it looks like. Now, not all of the pieces, when you put them together, they don't match up perfectly, but I attempted to match them up as close as I possible to make it look like it's a seamless way all the way around, and it has always worked out pretty well for me. So we're gonna go ahead and add the coat that goes over top now. This here just gets it all closed in and secures it, gives it a finish on top. Now I want to make sure that my pieces on the side do not go down on there, because I don't want them attaching to the sides there. So I have to make sure that I keep those up and that they're not going to dry attached. Because I will go back through there and they will all get sanded off so that you don't have those overhanging pieces. Okay, we're gonna let this dry a bit, and then we'll come back and we will sand those overlapping pieces right off of there, and we'll be able to finish it up then. Okay, now I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and just lightly brush against the edges. Just lightly brush against the edges so that it will detach right on the edge. And it won't have such a cut perfect look, but it will give it a blended look, like it really does belong that way. That is part of the project, so that it is just able to be pulled right off. Let's see here. Now the clear coat is not completely dry. It is still just a bit wet. So I'm gonna go and do this the whole way around so that I can get those edges off and finish this project. You want to make sure that you go up and down and not across, because if I would start going across this way, it could tear the paper, and I wouldn't want to do that, because it would mess up all of my work if it would tear that place there, and I would have to redo part of it. So you have to be careful that you just do the up and down motion to get it to come apart. I have gotten off all of the excess overhang, and now I'm just going to let this dry the rest of the way. And once the clear coat is dry over the rice paper, then I will go ahead and apply a clear coat over the whole thing, just to seal it and finish it off. So it's always a challenge to try and figure out the best way to photograph a mirror when it is done. I really struggle with that because you have to be so particular about what's in the background. So it's always the thought, okay, what needs to be moved? What pile is in the way? How are they going to see that picture there? But you know what? It is what it is. I live in my home. I work in my home. And I'm just thankful that I have the home, and I'm blessed by that. So here is that beautiful mirror that we just finished. We decoupaged it, and now it is done. It is all set to help bring spring into my home for this season. So I really love this. I think it turned out so beautiful, and I'm ready to set it in place. So I thank you for joining me. And if you'd like to continue seeing all our projects, and you know what, you can be so inspired by watching what somebody else does. I know that's the inspiration that I depend on a lot of times, is I can take an idea that somebody's doing and make it my own, and let it be something that has sparked a creativeness in me so that I can do what I would like. But it always takes that spark to get us going. So I'm hoping that today's project gave a spark in you of creativeness. So give me a thumbs up. I ask that you would subscribe, and let's go on this journey together. So bye-bye for now. Have an awesome day.